Amy, I just need to talk to you for 1 second. I've got a very big question.
I can't go to Nevada. I'm sorry. I have thought about this a lot.
What do you think of Candy Caruso to head up Nevada for me?
Oh, yeah.
I hear just excellent things about her.
Harvard Law Review.
Right.
She clerked for Justice Tenney. Politico's 30 under 30.
That's right.
She's still under 30. She looks older, but...
You like her?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a super smart woman who's young and brilliant, then why not?
Yeah, I really want that. I really do.
Anna, it is so nice to have you here.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm doing a Spanx check. Okay,
You're clear.
thank you. Keep me honest.
So you have earned 3 back-to-back Emmy nominations for playing, I think, one of the most put-upon people on cable TV, but in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to play her. That's for sure.
Catch us up with Amy this season. She's back, obviously, after her epic TV history-making meltdown.
Yes. I call this season her Amy back from rehab season, because I do see her job as an addiction. And last season, she kind of hit bottom, and I warn you, I will extend this metaphor.
Please.
But yeah, so she hit bottom. She left. She kind of got control of herself, and to see what life is like without this vice of hers that is her profession. And but then she just couldn't keep herself away, and this is kind of going back to the bar, with her old environment, her old people, and seeing if she can stay on an even keel. And that's the question the whole season, pretty much, for her. Can she stay sober off of the Politico drug?
Well, it's interesting, too, because Selena's Julia Louis-Dreyfus obviously plays Selina Meyer, who's the president, sort of president, maybe
She's
president.
the president. She is the president. We don't have another one at that point.
Okay, all right, I'll let you go with that. The President of the United States, and you're really the only woman in her inner circle.
Yeah. It's a funny intimacy that they have. We're hard pressed to call it something. We can't really call it friendship. We can't call it family, but it has those elements. And certainly there's a confidence that they have with one another. So I think that when Selena lost that from Amy, I think there was a void, and most possibly the same happened when Amy was away from Selena. So I think that they're drawn to one another, and they probably don't know why. They probably don't stop long enough to think about why. And but it is an intimacy.
It is, and it's weird because I don't understand why Gary and Amy won't leave. Why won't they leave?
I don't know. I think Tony has said about Gary that he really is in love with her, and so I think his motivation for not leaving. But yeah, Amy, I think it's stubbornness. Actually, to a certain extent, I think that Amy is all about playing the best chess move, and for her, and in her life, this has always been the horse to back. Not calling Julia a horse, but Selena, but in the race of this industry they're in. So I think that she, whenever it looks like it's not the horse to back, she clings steadfastly to the fact that, no, my decision to back this horse was right. You know what I mean? So I think she goes down kicking and screaming.
It's like almost a bad marriage. Like you've invested so many years in this marriage, and calling it quits, it's like admitting defeat, that you just wasted 10 or 15 years of your life. Yeah, I think, yes. And the more it goes and the more she invests, the higher that stake is. So, I think that, it's heavy. What's it been like living with such a type A character for 5 seasons now?
It's hard on the shoulders, just physically.
You're always like this?
I'm always like that. Yeah, and like you hold in a lot. That's what was such a joy about doing the Swan Song last season, was I actually got to expel all of it. The stuff that you're like holding in all the time. She holds in impulses a lot. So as the actor playing her, that gets into your body somewhere. But it's fun because it's layered. It's not she's not straightforward. She has all the thoughts she has, all the emotions she has, and then she has to do something with those immediately. And that creates its own challenges for the actor, myself. And at this point in my career, that's in craft, that's really juicy and fun to play with.
Wait, you're saying that there aren't a lot of really fully developed female characters out there?
We're getting more of them.
Please don't imply that. That's crazy talk.
No, that's crazy talk. No. Well, we are getting more of them, I think. Especially in
on
television.
TV.
Yeah, film not so much, but yeah. Well, that's why when you get a chance to play one and you get a chance to develop one over the course of 5 years, you jump at the chance. And possibly that's why when I'm on set, I'm always kind of fighting to earn all of her choices as well. I'm always doing that.
What do you mean?
Meaning, if you read a script, sometimes you'll look at your character and you'll go, oh, well, why is she doing that? And it's like I won't let go. Like I'm kind of bulldogish in that way. Like I won't let go of the reason she's doing things until I have something that satisfies me and that I can play. So maybe that's annoying to people who work with me, but
probably not. No, I think it probably gives Amy more depth and more well-roundedness. That's not even a word, but
I like to think so, though. I agree, and I like to think so.
And I think one of the great ironies of the show is that Julia Louis-Dreyfus plays. I mean, her character is so obtuse and self-involved that it's actually mind-bogglingly amazing. And yet, in real life, she's the exact opposite.
She is the exact opposite, and she's such a generous leader and very supportive. Yeah, she is the opposite leader of Selena. But speaking of that kind of thing too, she even though Selena on the page looks obtuse and self-involved and whatnot, and especially you'll see in episode 4 for sure, she is playing with her as a human being as well. Because the bottom line is a lot of these politicians do look that way to us on the surface, but they exist and they have to come from someplace, and they all had mothers and fathers and were raised somehow to end up this way. So I'm enjoying watching Julia really tackle those elements of Selena.
And especially this season, I think the show's richness comes from learning so much of her backstory and what made her that way. Meemaw.
Mm-hmm.
Meemaw.
Yeah.
Meemaw's. Great lady Meemaw.
A character, I suppose. And very Chekhovian, because it's all taking place without us even really meeting her.
No, did you base Amy on anyone?
Several people, several people in my own personal life, and also moments. So it's like when Amy's with the people that she works with, she'll be more like this person I know, or when she's with her family, maybe she's more like this person I know. So I kind of I draw inspiration from everywhere. I based her look on Marissa Meyer from Yahoo, and I always feel very validated every time I see a woman in DC who has that haircut and that look, and I'm like, yes, it does work. It does. We got it.
Nothing else. You will always have a perfect blowout, and that's simply how it is.
It's like that. Yeah, I feel like that's her vitamin. In the morning, it's like, no, I will dry my hair.
And we're obviously in the midst of a pretty insane election season. Mm-hmm. Does being on this show make it all the more vital to you? The show, not the election.
Doesn't make the show vital. Not really, just because I feel like crazy, ridiculous politics is happening all the time, and it has since the dawn of modern civilization. So, I always have felt that government and politics has been rife for satire, as has Armando Iannucci, who created our show, and all of us who are on it. So it just is, I think it's more exposed right now. For its ridiculousness, and everyone's going, "Oh my gosh, this is," I love that they're drawing the comparison, because it's making people realize that we're not just telling jokes, like we're actually also examining the system through humor. So that's noble to an extent.
And I've read so many articles about how timely the show is, and how now it's so reflective of what's going on in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if when you guys sit down to read the scripts, you actually think to yourselves, "Oh my God, this recount, this is reminiscent of what happened in blah blah blah."
We definitely did that. Like, I read the book, back, cover to cover, and that one. There are certain storylines we have had over the years that are more obviously inspired by facts than some others. And in those cases, you just go, okay, well, when it happened, did it blah, 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 and who did this and who did that? It's helpful to know those things. However, we are very aware that we're telling our own story. Selina's not a parody of any one person, and none of us are. We're a parody of these positions and these dynamics. And that gives us, I think, a better stance from which we can satirize.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from politicians? I bet you that...
It's different from politicians than from staffers.
Really?
Yeah, well, because politicians don't want to admit that it's them, you know what I mean? They all think it's about somebody else. And but any other person you meet in DC says that we're getting it right so much more than anybody knows. And that's always very vindicating for us to hear, because that's what's it worth if we're not getting it right? So,
how much of a political animal are you?
I try to take a quiet seat, just because I think it's dangerous when we put too much mythos on politics, and we forget the pragmatism of it, when we forget that people just have to govern sometimes, when we call things good and evil, and I think it's dangerous to go there. So, when I was younger, my father's like a political junkie, so I grew up with that kind of conversation very much. It was always on my front foot to go to politics. And then as I got older, my then boyfriend, now husband, served in the Army Reserve, and he was deployed during an election year, and I just found that everybody wanted to politicize my life, and it would just cause it got too personal. It just got too personal, and so I thought, oh my gosh, there's that adage of never socialize and talk about politics, religion, or family.
Or money.
And, money, there's that one too. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm going to give that a shot for once. And when I did, and again, this was like 10-something years ago, when I did, I found that there was so much more to talk about, and it was more enjoyable. And so I stay informed. I'm willing to be in that conversation with anybody, but it's certainly not my sport, so that's where I'm at.
And I wanted to talk to you about your career for a minute, because you've had a pretty amazing few years. I mean, aside from the 3 back-to-back Emmy noms, which, are incredible in and of themselves, you also went to the University of Chicago. You've done a ton of theater.
Yes.
How did going to college change your perspective on acting, or did it?
Oh, certainly. Well, and going to, at school, I did some university theater here and there, but I did not study it, and I was not pursuing it. And so I think pulling back from acting and show business after having gone through it in adolescence, well, my whole childhood, but then also like going through the icky parts of it in adolescence, it gave me such great perspective on again, like there are more things, there's a lot more out there. I have more talents than just this type thing. And so I think once I got to New York, and I could see wonderful theater, and there was some wonderful television programs at that time too, and great films. I could see them for what the beauty of acting was, and it inspired me in a whole new way to tell stories and communicate text, and to not give into it as a popularity contest and just pleasing people and getting applause. That stuff all of a sudden didn't matter anymore, and the possibility of pursuing this kind of a craft and a career for all of the right reasons all of a sudden just opened up my life and opened up my heart, and that kind of thing nourishes you even when you're not paying rent, when it's really rough and you're doing free theater back to back and you're like, how am I going to pay rent? At least I'm telling a story and I'm doing it my best and I'm pursuing excellence at this. So it gave me an enormously useful perspective to pull away.
And when you read Veep, I know you'd worked with Armando before, so the creator of the show. When you read the script, did you instantly feel that thing of like, I must play Amy?
I did. Yeah, and I have to, and I must do this again, and I must work with them again. That was, after we had started filming the pilot of Veep, I was like going through some old journals or something, and let's say I think I booked the pilot like December. November, I had written a journal entry. I was kind of stagnating. I was kind of feeling stuck in my career. I had done some things that didn't feel very fulfilling. And I read this in retrospect. And in the journal it said, "Can't I just work for Armando Iannucci again?" And and I didn't. Wonderful, right? And I didn't even know that he was doing this yet. I didn't know that he was thinking of me. Yeah, and then kind of the ball got rolling very quickly, and I discovered that they were doing this, and lo and behold, they were thinking of me this whole time. So that was just really special, and it just goes to show. I bring up the story because it goes to show you how excited I was to work for him again, because it doesn't come around every day to collaborate with someone that really gels with you.
And I know that you've said, should the opportunity come up, you definitely want to go back to Broadway.
Oh, yeah. I love it. It's, I like to have a very cross-trained career. It's a blessing I've had thus far. TV is very fast-paced, and that's a really useful skill to have.
Yeah, you guys, I think you spend like 90% of your time like walking and talking, but not walking, like storming around.
Well, and also just the job too. I mean, sometimes we won't have the script until that night or the morning of, or so you have to make choices very instantly, which is again a great skill. And in theater, it's more. It definitely feels more like weight training. It's like you go in every day, you work with the same material, you know where it's going to go. And then you find the newness in every time you do it, and that's as delicious. So yeah, I always crave a good play, And
before we turn this over to the audience, I have a very serious and difficult question for you.
Oh, geez.
In episode 4, I think it's episode 4, but it could have been 3. I could be wrong.
That's okay.
Here.
I won't judge you.
Amy admits to having complete verbal diarrhea of foul words. That
Yes.
she can't control herself anymore.
Oh, she does do that, doesn't she? Yes,
Yes.
that's episode 4. Yeah.
Like where
yeah.
she literally is like,
Oh, sorry, we do that, or yeah.
Like where she tries to say something, but then inevitably, like it just reverts to like
to filth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Has the language of the show like infected your own life?
I do say the F word more when I'm filming. Having a toddler is a really good way to curb that, because you just find all the other ways to say something. But yeah, I certainly have more of a potty mouth when we're filming. It's the same thing. Like it's weird. Like when you're working on Shakespeare, you'll find that you start speaking in iambic pentameter in your normal life. So it's it's all muscle memory, I think.
But your show really goes the extra mile to come up with amazing. I mean,
They do.
I remember the first episode where she said, "We just got paper fucked."
Yeah, pencil
Fucked.
Pencil fuck. And what?
I was like, "Ooh, that's good.
And that's
good."
an actual term. That's an actual term from.
I asked Julia about it.
Yeah,
She said it was.
Yeah, we didn't even. Yeah, we didn't. That was. We didn't even make that one up.
What's been your favorite of Amy's explosive verbal tirades?
I'm the worst at this question. I really need to do homework better and remember what I say. God, I did think it was terribly clever in her rant when she said you couldn't run a bath without having the Coast Guard and the fire department standing by, but here you are running the country. I thought that was clever. Yeah, that was kind of like, snap and Z formation. So I liked that.
And now for our audience.
Hey, Anna. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What are a couple of other strong female characters on television that you currently enjoy?
Oh, every one of the characters that Tatiana Maslany is playing in Orphan Black.
All 900 of them.
All thousands. And that's why I applaud that so much, because I feel like if she was playing any one of those roles and they were writing any one of those roles, they'd be really round and wonderful, but they're doing a million. Let's see, what else am I? Gabby's role on Transparent is just wonderful. Everybody is on Transparent. Gosh, what else am I loving? Okay, now I'm totally blanking on what I watch. That's where I'm at.
I'm actually impressed that you have time to watch TV with a kid at
we
home.
do like an hour. Like we'll allow ourselves like an hour. So my father, who's retired, will always call me and tell me like 100 shows that I need to be watching. I'm like, Dad, I will get there. I may be 50 by the time I get there, but I will get there. It's on the list, but I only have an hour at night. So, but we do. But now the Mets are playing, so there's that too. So. So that's taking up some of our narrative hour.
Oh, I love the fact that you're still a Mets girl. Lady.
It's funny. I'm very much a product of my household. I'm very much a product of my household because it's my husband who's the huge Mets fan. I was a Cubs fan for a very long time, and I still am. They're doing so fabulously now. I will be rooting for them, but because it's a Mets household and that's what my husband's watching, it's like those are the names I know. So that's just proof in the pudding of who you're rooting for more.
A very political answer. Nicely done.
It's hard with that.
Next question, please.
How's it going, Anna?
Well, and yourself?
Good. I just started Veep last week. So
great.
It's like really good so far. I'm only in the
Thank
first
you.
season, but
I love the
I'll get
first
there
season.
eventually.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. So now that you've made a TV show that explored the political environment, do you have any interest in exploring any other environment, like the fashion industry or cooking or film industry or anything like that?
Obviously, if the role's good, as we were talking about female roles, if the role's good, any environment's worth exploring. But that said, I'm drawn to a military role someday. Would be great to explore, and journalism fascinates me. I love any of my journalist friends have such a different outlook on life that I think is very alluring and almost aspirational. I love that they. More often than not, they don't give a crap what people think of them, and they don't give a crap about who they offend with their opinions, even if they're not well thought out. and I'm like, all right, you go, like you just say what you want to say. So I would love to explore that personality, and also I'm like always dying to do a period, like a really solid period drama, like an Amadeus or even John Adams or something like that. And I want to do something where I have to ride a horse too, be it a Western or be it like a Regency drama. I want to ride a horse.
Well, you could do like a period drama where you ride a horse.
Exactly right,
That combines
Catherine the
all
Great.
two.
Anyway. She wore breeches all the time in order to ride her horse, and she got criticized for it by the Empress. But anyway, yes, moving on. Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
If you were running for president, what would your slogan be, and who would your VP pick would be?
Ooh, that's fun. I thought about that the other day. Somebody asked me that. I know I would get no votes off of this, but if you're being true to yourself, and this is why I will never run and I will never be a politician, but love is the answer. I think is my best slogan. It's a horrible slogan because again, you will get no results from it. So thereby, definition, not a good slogan, but it's true. VP, who would be my VP? I haven't thought of that. That's hard because it has to be somebody that you don't want to be, better than you because you don't want people to assassinate you in order for that person to be.
Or even worse, impeach you and make you resign.
Yeah, exactly. But good enough to get you votes that you couldn't. Yeah. Okay. If love is then I'm getting the hippie vote. If love is the answer, so that means I need the non-hippie vote. Maybe my cousin Eric would be really good.
I was thinking Beyonce.
Beyonce, maybe. But I think she'd be. Do you think that would plug a void that I wouldn't get? Come on, are we the same?
Okay, now I feel like Amy does when Selena puts her on the spot.
No, sure. Beyonce will be fine, but I'm sure she'd pick me as VP. I don't think it'd be the other way around.
Next question, please.
Hey, Anna.
Hello.
I remember seeing you on My Girl back then, and I admit I had a bit of a crush on you back then.
Okay.
I was wondering, do you remember what that experience was like working on that film, and do you still keep in touch with any of the cast members?
It's not like we keep in touch. I did run into Jamie at an event this last year, which was really cool, and I ran into Dan Aykroyd years ago. At an SNL party of all places, but it was so lovely seeing him. It's weirdly cathartic when you meet people from your childhood. And I ran into and Alan Weisinger, who did my makeup on a show called White Collar that I did four episodes of. So that was really cool seeing him. So I remember things like that, but it's 25 years ago.
Your career has come so far since then.
Thank you. Yeah, but I just liken it to anything that you guys remember from 25 years ago. So it's spotty.
And last question, please.
Hi, Anna.
Hi.
What new things did David Mandel bring to the table for this new season of Veep?
I think he and our new writers. They brought more of an American perspective in that there are certain things I think that only being American you would know that this is like a button to push or something to explore. So they did those kinds of things, and I also find that the American sensibility, unlike the British, is more, they focus in on characters more as opposed to broadening and making it more of an ensemble kind of machine, and both are really great. It's kind of like two sides of the same coin, and it's neat to be able to see how he's been able to take somebody else's tone and somebody else's ideas and still bring his own point of view to it.
But as a viewer, I have to say that had I not known that there was a switch, you wouldn't have known. It's been so seamless.
That's wonderful. Oh,
right?
that's great.
Wouldn't you agree?
I definitely agree.
It's not like you can look at one script and say, "Oh, this is from Dave versus this is from Armando."
Sure, no, certainly, and that's also because both of them are such good leaders of their staffs that no one voice is speaking at any one time, and they've both been able to do that. Like you'll know every writer's kind of voice on a separate level, but then once a script is put together with all of them, it has a new kind of collaborated, unified voice. So maybe that's the key to the smoke and mirrors. I'm kidding, but also, yeah, when we did the first read of the first episode. I was really encouraged by how well they knew the characters and how well they preserved the tone. So yeah, I think it's been great.
And when can we watch the episodes?
10:30 on Sundays at HBO, or whenever you want, because
HBO on demand.
Because it's the modern age.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.